Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down big ideas into clear, concise visuals. Today, we're building the ultimate playbook for making business partnerships actually work. I mean, that's the million-dollar question, right? It's the difference between a collaboration that changes the game and, well, a really costly failure. So today, we're going to map out how you can land on the side of magic. Okay, so before we can start making any magic, we've got to be on the same page. What exactly is a strategic alliance? And what makes it so different from any other kind of deal? Let's define the playing field. So here's the crucial point. An alliance is all about partnership, not possession. It's this collaboration where companies share their strengths to build something new, but, and this is key, they all stay independent. That phrase, strategic autonomy, that's really the secret ingredient here. And this right here shows you the difference perfectly. A merger, that's a total fusion. Two companies become one. An alliance, though, that's a pact. Think of it like two superheroes teaming up for a mission. They work together, they have each other's backs, but at the end of the day, they each keep their own identity and can fly solo afterward. All right, so we know what an alliance is. Now for the tricky part. How do you find the right dance partner? This is where the real work starts, because let me tell you, choosing the right partner is way more than half the battle. It really starts with this simple but super powerful three-step process. First, you got to look in the mirror. What do we actually need? Then you look at your potential partner. What do they have? And finally, the most critical step of all, you evaluate the fit. Are you two puzzle pieces that just click together perfectly? Or are you just trying to jam two corners together and hope for the best? Now, this three-step process, it might sound simple, but getting it right is everything. So let's look at a classic example of a perfect fit. The alliance between GE and Snecma. This was a partnership that literally reshaped the entire aviation industry. Okay, check this out. This is a textbook case of what we call a complementary fit. You had the American company, GE, who were masters of the hot section of a jet engine. Then you had the French company, Snecma, who specialized in the cold section. On top of that, GE had deep connections with American playmakers like Boeing, while Snecma had the inside track with Europe's Airbus. See, neither one could dominate the global market on their own, but together, man, they were unstoppable. But here's the thing. Even with a perfect partner, even a match made in heaven like GE and Snecma, every single alliance faces a period of intense challenge. It's just an unavoidable part of the journey. And that journey pretty much always follows these 5 phases. It kicks off with the honeymoon. Everyone's excited, they're optimistic. Then comes the reality check, where little frictions start to show up. And then you hit phase 3, the crisis. It's a period so full of conflict and low morale, it's often called the death valley of alliances. And this is it. This is the make or break moment. When you're in the depths of that death valley, the partners face a choice. Commit to solving the problems, no matter how hard, or cut your losses and just walk away. You can bet GE and Snecma had their death valley moments, but the strongest alliances are forged in the fire of this phase. So how do you actually navigate that death valley and come out the other side? Well, it comes down to leadership. But what's fascinating is that the type of leader you need completely changes depending on which phase of the journey you're in. It is not a one-size-fits-all job. It's about wearing the right hat at the right time. A great alliance manager is kind of a chameleon. In that honeymoon phase, they're the visionary. Then they have to become the sponsor and the advocate to get everyone to buy in. But when you hit that death valley, the facilitator hat is the most critical one for resolving all that conflict. And as you emerge, you need a master networker, and finally, a steady manager to keep the whole thing on track. It's all about having the right skills for the right moment. Okay, so beyond great leadership, what's the fundamental formula for success? If we boil everything down, what are the core ingredients that separate the alliances that win from the ones that just fizzle out? You know, the research points to a really clear and memorable formula. It comes down to 8 key things you have to get right, and they all just so happen to start with the same letter. And here they are, the 8 I's of success. Now think back to GE and Snecma. They nailed the obvious ones, right? Individual excellence, clear interdependence. The alliance was critically important to both of them. But the real secret sauce, the stuff that's hard to do, is often found in things like deep integration between the teams, a formal process or institutionalization, and, above all else,
unwavering integrity. Because without that trust, everything else just falls apart.
And that leaves us with one last, kind of provocative thought. Many alliances, just like GE and SNECMA, are formed between companies that also compete in other areas. This balancing act, it's often called co-opetition, is really the master-level skill. Success isn't just about cooperation, it's about mastering that delicate dance between partnership and competition. How do you share what you need to, protect what you must, and still build trust with a rival? Now that is the billion-dollar question.